What's up, y'all? Today's video is going to be a project video. On the last camping trip, the boys discovered hammocks and decided they have an affinity for swinging them. Since our next camping trip is going to be at the beach where there won't be any trees to hang some hammocks from, today I'm going to build a frame, a design I came up with to hang a couple hammocks off the side of the truck so that the boys, and myself of course, can enjoy the hammocks while we're at the beach in about a week. So hopefully you'll get some ideas, maybe get a little inspired to get out and do a little bit yourself, and hopefully it'll be a little bit entertaining along the way. First thing we need to do is we're going to get out the chop saw, because we got to start cutting those pipes down into the proper lengths. Hopefully y'all can see that, but I went and did the calculations, did the math. Looks like those are the measurements of what we're going to be cutting, so we can start getting some cutting done. We have all of our tubing pieces cut that we're going to need. Now we get to do the slow, arduous process and use our tubing notcher to notch all of them. Now that we got the ends of the tubes notched that we needed to notch, and that went a whole lot quicker thanks to it being a fresh drill bit, we're going to go through and clean up all these edges, get the mill scale off of here. The pieces that are going to be welded to, we're going to use the grinder to get the mill scale off of those, but we're going to clean up all these edges, get them ready for welding, and we're just going to use, flap disc on a 4.5 inch grinder. Always wear your hearing protection when you use this. It's Now comes the fun part. Since we have all of these, at least the first round of stuff I'm going to clean up, we got the ends cleaned up. We're actually going to weld these together. That's the welder. Part of the reason I came to my dad's house is his welder's nicer than mine. I got a cheap Harbor Freight one that works, but this one, Miller-Matic, whatever it is, 220 or something, Miller-Matic 211 is so nice. It works so well. The auto select thing is just perfect. So we're going to use that to weld these up and get some of the initial stages of this thing put together. got the first pieces welded. Not the prettiest welds. For some reason the welder on the auto setting was spitting out a lot more wire than wire speed was a lot higher than it should have been, but it was welding decently enough. So this piece right here, I need to make it small enough that I can actually transport it. I think I've got a spot in the on the rig where it'll actually fit, but I need to chop it down into more manageable size pieces. So I basically cut it down into, this is a 4-foot section, then there's a 4-foot section here, and a 4-foot section here. So to join right here at this set joint and this joint, this is my idea. So what I've got, obviously, is my 1.5-inch tubing, and I just so happen to have a piece of DOM tubing in my garage that fits over that perfectly. So I cut a 4-inch piece, and I will weld it onto one end at 2 inches deep, and then it will fit on the other end. The other end will slide right into it, 2 inches. So I'm hoping that's enough overlap with the strength of the tube to not give me any sort of issue. Anyway, so this goes under the wheel, and then of course we've got the center section, and as you can see, I've got one of my joints there, got another one of my joints there. This down here is the end I have to figure out. Right now I'm leaning towards cutting, 3 inches or so, maybe 4 inches off of this tube here, notching it on this end, welding it to that, gusseting it, and then this tube will just slide into another piece of the bigger tubing. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I just was kind of hoping to keep it as narrow as possible so it takes up less room. But I'm going to go do some measurements underneath the truck where I kind of want to store it and see if I've got enough room to fit this in there. So we'll go look at that real quick. Huh. I think that's going to work. Let me show you. So, as you can see, it fits down there fine, since there won't be but maybe an 1.5-inch gusset hanging off the end, or a little, not gusset, but little tabs off the side for hooking the hammock to. But on this end, because of this gap right here, I think that's enough room. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work out. I mean, shoot, that's over 6 inches. Yeah, heck, I might even be able to do a 4-inch. I think I might do a 4-inch just to give myself a little more gusset for strength. I think that'll work out fine. Perfect. test number one did not go so well. I have a lot more flex in the pipe than I thought I would. And what we found was, if you've got one hammock here running, you know, over to that area somewhere, and somebody sits in it, this is just not enough rigidity or enough length off of that tube to keep it from doing this. So it actually pulls up the entire, corner. Like I had both my sons sit in it, and with both their weight, it was pulling this whole thing, you know, this way. But all of the flex, it wasn't, you know, pivoting down there. All of the flex was in this tube right here. The first thing I did was, of course, I drilled holes all the way through, and then put nails through there. I did that at everywhere where it was not connected. Don't mind the fact that this one has extra holes. Anyways, let's not talk about that right now. So I added those, which will help with the sideways twist, and then as you can see, that is where they originally ended. So if this is the point, they were a little bit wider. Now they're an extra 2 feet wider on each end. I have an idea of welding a tab to the back here, and then just running a rope, you know, all the way down somewhere, you know, over there, dig a big hole, bury a 2x4, wrap the rope around it. Because I've seen people build hammocks where they use the dune as one end of the connection, and they just buried a 2x4 deep down in the sand. So that's my plan for helping with this. At least that's plan A. I'm gonna go test it first, so I'll let you know what happens. I'm laying in a hammock attached to my truck and a frame I built. As you can see, I am the only one. I am on one hammock, and that leg right over there is not lifting up off the ground. So all I did was throw a ratchet strap around this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld a tab right here so I can hook the ratchet strap directly to the tab, and then it's not even a straight anchor, because straight it would be over here. But you know, I carry a big enough piece of 2x4 with me and anchor it down. I think it'll work. So all in all, I mean, you know, it's attached here and here. Of course, I'll actually get, you know, proper rope and clips, and I just didn't have anything the right length, so this was just to sort of test the theory. But I mean, it's working. I have hammocks. Alright, so after the second round of testing, and doing a little bit of research, I have determined that I'm going to make one more modification. I believe the second modification should make this work the way it's supposed to. So I actually think after doing a little more research, I could have probably gotten away without adding the 2 extra feet to each side of the upright. And with some more research, I actually found I could probably done without the whole base. But anyways, I'm going to add a tab to the back so that I can use it as the anchor point for straps that'll go, you know, triangulated straps that'll go out from the end. So that should solve, I think, all of my problems. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add a tab right here that has a big enough hole that I can run 2 ratchet straps through it. The ratchet straps are what I'm going to use to strap it down to the truck anyway, so I'll just use those 2 ratchet straps. I'm going to make a little bracket, tab, weld that on there, and that should be everything I need. So let's get to fabricating that bracket. there's coat number 1. I am not doing, obviously, a good paint job. I don't care about it being a good paint job because it's going to get scratched up pretty crazily riding around between the flatbed and the frame rails of the truck. But this is more just to try and combat the rust, try and prevent it a little bit. I really think I'm going to use this one time because I have already done research and determined that there are better solutions for camping or setting up a hammock on the beach. So this is my attempt to over-engineer the most simple of things. Apparently that's what I like to do, I guess. But like I said, I'm not worried about the paint. I am more just worried about keeping it from rusting. So we'll let this dry, and then we'll flip it over, paint the other side, and then we'll be done with this thing. Not too bad though. I mean, it's heavy and quite inefficient. I spent the day engineering something, building something, which is always fun. So, and I got to do it in an air-conditioned shop. Even better.